Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro. It's time to review Mank, the new Oscar contender from David Fincher. The movie's about Herman Mankiewicz, who co-wrote the screenplay of Citizen Kane. It's very much an interpretation, like an opinionated look at who this person was, what his intention was in writing Citizen Kane. Most of the movie sort of deals a little indirectly with Citizen Kane because the only time that the character is actually writing are in the not flashbacks.
That was almost to be expected. Like, I kind of felt like this was going to be one of those meta movies where everything that's happening, you're supposed to be able to like relate to the movie. And I actually had a little bit more trouble doing that than I thought I was going to. Like, I could see where they were going for the parallels, but it wasn't like immediately obvious to me. So maybe on a second watch, like that would be more prevalent.
If you are wondering, should I watch Citizen Kane before I see this movie? If you haven't already seen Citizen Kane, yes. This movie is made with the assumption that you've seen Citizen Kane, I think.
You know, it's technically a prequel. It's David Fincher's prequel to Citizen Kane.
The connections made to Citizen Kane are like, they're for you to decide. Some of them are pretty obvious, but they're still not going to tell you that, oh, this is what he experienced in his life, and this is how it fit into Citizen Kane. It's just like the castle looks like Xanadu, and it has a zoo like Xanadu. And these aren't things that they tell you, but if you've seen Citizen Kane, you just know. So, yes, you should see Citizen Kane if you haven't already.
I've seen it a few times, but not recently, and I felt like I would have benefited from watching it again before I saw the movie. So that's definitely something you can do to kind of like butter yourself up for this experience.
Most of this movie is about Herman Mankiewicz's relationship to the Hollywood machine, where he fits in as a screenwriter and where he doesn't fit in mostly. A lot of his identity is rooted in his political views. He's more of a socialist. He aligns with the politician Upton Sinclair, who at this time is running. I mean, this movie is very political. Like a lot of this movie and a lot of what we know about the character is about their political beliefs.
There's an interesting conversation with these wealthy Hollywood people about the rise of Nazi Germany, because this takes place like right before all of that, I guess, comes to a head. It becomes like very involved with the debate that's going on at the time, which is interesting because we obviously see ourselves as being in the midst of a very heated and potent political atmosphere. You can definitely like put yourself in that time period.
And it's also interesting to see the ways in which Hollywood was actually quite conservative, very different to how they are now.
All this kind of takes place in like a very heady, talky atmosphere. It was hard for me initially to like understand what the movie was even going for. It really took me until like the third act to be like, oh, that's kind of where the movie's going. This is the voice of the film. This is the perspective of it. And because I couldn't see that in like the first, I guess, couple acts, I felt like a little bit removed from it and just kind of waiting to see like where it was going. But by the end, I felt like it actually made more sense. And I would probably need to watch it again because a lot of it, honestly, went over my head, I feel like.
I had like a sort of tough relationship with this movie when watching it because it is so heady, it's so idea-based, and what we know about the character is really a lot of like the ideas that he subscribes to and like the systems that he takes place in, but it doesn't feel like it's going straight for like the humanity.
I kind of disagree with that take because it just doesn't seem like this is the movie for that. And it is a character study. So it's not like you don't have a character study. You just have a character study that's in like a different key than one that kind of has a moment where the character gets emotional because like they realize that, oh my God, my whole life I haven't been writing letters to my son.
No, I didn't need that.
Yeah, but I think it is a very in-depth and interesting character study. It's just done in a different way.
It might be a movie I like more when I watch it again, but at the end of the day, I feel like I get the gist of what it's going for, but I don't know how much I like cared about it. You know, for me, it was maybe lacking something, you know, a little more emotional, a little less like in the clouds, I guess.
It was very much a commentary movie, I thought. Kind of like an interesting journalistic piece almost into somebody's kind of mind and into a time period. Very well like researched and understood, I felt like. But I can understand a lot of people would feel like there's something else to be desired. Maybe have more of like a reason for the average moviegoer to watch it. Like, why am I watching this movie is a question I can see some people grappling with.
And I think a lot of the enjoyment of this movie is going to come down to just people's personal taste. I just don't think there's much for like a general audience member, because it's either that your interest would be in like old Hollywood movies, or you like something a little more heady that makes you think. That's very idea based.
It's very much a movie that caters to certain interests. It's not really trying to pull in other people who might not be invested in that. I can't think of a lot of people who like the movie they want to write would be this, because it's so specific. You have to be fascinated with Herman Mankiewicz of all people. Like, you have to really care about that. It was so deeply researched. It felt like the writer, and obviously David Fincher, really cared about exploring Herman Mankiewicz, but to most people it's like, why? But I'm almost interested because somebody took all the time to thoroughly like map out this guy's life, or kind of map out the culture around his life.
I agree with that. It's like a fascinating movie, but a little too much in the way that you just like read a textbook about something. As far as Mank is a movie about like a passionate artist, I don't know if I like felt his passion for writing. The most passionate he is just like that he wants to put his politics to paper.
I think he's just like, I am a writer. Like, this is what I do.
I get that it's about like this socialist outsider who, you know, felt very beaten down that his like ideas weren't accepted. And in some parts I related to like the sadness that he had for participating in a system that went against his beliefs. But even when he's talking to Amanda Seyfried and they're going about the zoo, they're having a conversation about like Upton Sinclair. He's like basically kind of like mansplaining Upton Sinclair to her. I feel like these two who have this sort of spiritual connection, I don't know, like I might have been interested to see something else like come up. Any life that you could put on screen can make me like care in like a heartfelt way about it. Like pretty much any life, unless you're literally a horrible person. So for me, just not to be that emotionally invested or just like care that much about what's going on.
I don't even really agree with that. Like, I feel like I kind of know what it's trying to do, and you're kind of like asking it to give you something that it's just not trying to offer you it. I think the one thing that will be entertaining for any audience and engaging is like, there's the whole aesthetic, which is just, it keeps you in the movie even when things might be going over your head. The production design, the costumes, and then there's the performances. There's just a lot to like drink in here. Gary Oldman's always like giving something interesting, and Amanda Seyfried, whenever she's on screen, you just want more. You're like, give me all of that. The two of them together have some really great performances.
I wanted to see more of Amanda Seyfried in this movie because she was so great. Every time she was on screen, she's just lighting it up. I literally felt like a little like uptick in my interest in the movie every time she was on screen.
I don't think Mank is going to win Best Picture. It's too inaccessible. It doesn't reach like enough people, I think, that it could take the prize. It's definitely a lock for a nomination.
I also feel like it's not the Best Picture winner. It feels like Roma to me. You know, a movie that a lot of cinephiles are going to love, but some people are going to be left cold.
It could win director. David Fincher's overdue. Everybody knows that. Everybody's rooting for him. And his only competition is Chloe Zhao, who's a newcomer who probably deserves director for Nomadland. But can she snatch it from the possibly most overdue living director,
who also made like a really meticulously assembled movie that's going to dominate the technical categories, will probably be the most nominated movie of the night. I'm actually definitely willing to bet on that. Gary Oldman's definitely getting nominated. I don't see him winning, not with Chadwick Boseman and Anthony Hopkins in the category, but he could become a secure, gets nominated across the board, all the major precursors.
I think that'll happen.
And Amanda Seyfried could definitely win for this. She became the front runner quickly after the reviews came out and after the Hillbilly Elegy reviews came out. Her screen presence is magnetic. She can definitely just become the front runner, although Olivia Colman and Ellen Burstyn are really strong as well. So I guess it's not quite locked in, but I don't know. She could just sweep. There are a lot of great little performances underneath like Gary Oldman and Amanda Seyfried. Most of them are kind of one scene performances. Like Charles Dance has a scene.
No one's getting nominated though. Like there's not even a person you're going to single out from the supporting male cast. Like not a chance.
We love The Souvenir. Tom Burke. I think he's very good in it. He nails the voice and he just happens to look like Orson Welles.
He nailed the voice, but actually in one scene, I thought it went away in the ending scene. It felt like he stopped being Orson Welles and became like It was weird. Screenplay, it's very talky. It's not impossible, I guess, that it could win, but it's up against Trial of Chicago 7. Trial of Chicago 7 is for sure going to reach more people and like connect with them than Mank. For sure gets nominated, and it's probably a runner-up.
Technical categories, like cinematography.
Winning.
It's black and white, so it's going to win. That's just what's going to happen. Production design, costumes.
But I think Ma Rainey is like nipping at its heels for costumes, and I think it's a complete lock to win that. Score, it is going to get nominated, but Trevor Messer, Atticus Ross will probably lose to themselves for Soul, I think. It's a very well done homage to the period, but it's not particularly memorable. There's nothing that you're going to be humming on the way out. There's not any interesting sounds. It's all like the kind of sounds you would expect to hear in a 30s movie. Honestly, I don't know if it's like one of their more interesting scores. I was like, I wanted something more, maybe more of a Phantom Thread kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think it quite reaches like Gone Girl Social Network heights.
Yeah.
Editing, I think it can definitely get nominated there. The movie sounds like an old film. I think it could win sound for that reason. And I'd actually be really interested to see how they recreated the sound where it sounds like it's being recorded with old audio equipment.
Maybe makeup, I guess. And some people are saying maybe visual effects, but like it had zoo animals in it for a couple scenes. I'm pretty skeptical that it would get nominated. So overall, that's like 12 nominations, I think.
I think it's 11.
So I know there's a lot of people who will be mad that we're saying Mank won't win.
Yeah.
Before they've even seen it.
Doesn't have that feeling of a Best Picture winner. You can contest that, you can be mad, but at the end of the day, one of us will be right and one of us will be wrong. Overall, this movie's gonna please some and it's gonna leave others cold. I was kind of in the middle. I don't think it's a bad movie by any means, but it didn't like do a lot for me. You know, I didn't feel like I got a lot out of it. Maybe on a second viewing, I think I'll probably try the movie again. But for now, I'm going 6 out of 10.
I definitely think it could change on a second viewing, but for now, like based on, you know, how whelmed or lack of whelmed I was at the movie, I'm gonna say 7 out of 10. So you think Hillbilly Elegy is better than Mank? What's your response to that criticism that they're all typing in the comments?
This is all personal preference. Like Mank's obviously like the higher quality movie, but which one did I enjoy more? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself at Hillbilly Elegy more, okay? I'm gonna watch Mank again and we'll see what happens. But definitely check it out. You know who you are if you're gonna like it.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
Do you deserve writing credit on Citizen Kane?